And that's where everything just began to shift for me in how do you build true relationships? How do you build something that can live beyond you? It's not about your personality. It's not about what you're going to do.
Welcome to the Everyday Faith Podcast, where we believe you can live out your faith every day by starting with belief, embracing your mission, committing to obedience, and pursuing community. I'm Jess.
And I'm Dan. Today, we're welcoming my good friend, Ben Peterson, to the podcast. We're so grateful to have him, his wonderful wife, Rachel, and their two warrior sons in our lives. Ben is an author, public speaker, and he's the founder and director of Engage Your Destiny, where their mission is equipping warriors with the spiritual tools they need to face any battle. Ben is a man on fire for the kingdom. We're going to have a great time. Ben, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
For sure, man. Thanks.
Well, I met Ben, what was it? 11 years ago?
You've known Ben longer than you've known me, than I've known you.
Yeah. I remember when you started dating Jess.
So
Some good conversations back then.
I was there part of the setup when he asked you to marry him, Jess.
That was so
remember
fun.
that. It was a good day.
That was
a good
awesome.
Dude, that was a sweet engagement.
I remember the creative agency we worked at got pretty mad because I left to go work at a church. You left to start this ministry, and they're like, "What is God doing here?"
Yeah, all these Christians are abandoning this guy's business. So sorry, we're following the call of God on our life.
Hey, and he's doing great now, so it's a win-win.
Win-win.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm curious to hear from you how did you get to where you are today? I mean, you referenced that you two worked together at a creative agency, and then you left to start a ministry. Give us kind of just the rundown of how that happened. How did that transition happen?
Well, I got saved when I was 17. I think those teenage years are so formative. And the bully of our high school, his name was Jason Anderson. And this guy was like a nightmare. I mean, this guy was nuts. And captain of the football team, captain of the wrestling team, and just a madman. And then his aunt dragged him to a Pentecostal prayer meeting, got saved and filled with the Holy Spirit.
Come on.
And he brought that to our Catholic high school. So we show up one day. It was a total Saul to Paul type deal. And Jason's just in the hallways praying for people to get saved, to get healed, to know Jesus. And it was nuts. And he started this worship movement. And I remember I was there in this, Catholic chapel with Jesus literally still on the cross kind of a deal, right? We're worshiping Jesus, and I just no one led me to the Lord. The presence of the Lord led me to the Lord. And I felt, and I was smoking weed, stealing my dad's pills, drinking, in this whole deal. And I felt a presence and a power that I had never experienced, and I was just on fire. And I just said, Jesus, I'll follow you. Wherever you want to go, whatever you want me to do, my life is yours.
Wow.
And I believe that was just a marking moment. And I think there's these moments where, it's like Isaiah chapter 6, God is calling, and who's going to say, here am I, Lord, I'll go, And so not too long after that, I joined the military, and I always wanted to serve this nation in combat, especially after 9/11. And so I had a special forces slot to serve, and be, a pretty bad dude. And I failed the colorblind test.
So totally out of your control. Nothing you could have done anything about.
Nope. And I lost that opportunity. The only job they'd give me was a chaplain's assistant. And I said, what's that? And I said, well, it's the, ministry assistant to the chaplain and then his bodyguard. And that was the first time, I really felt a calling, God was calling me. And I had no idea at the time what would be happening 20 years later with what we're doing today.
Wow.
But it was a marking moment. And then after that, the recruiter said, hey, I can get you the answers to the colorblind test, and we can still get you into SF. We were in this elevator, and I was like, I can't lie,
I don't think I ever heard that part of your story.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do it. So I joined the military. I went to combat.
Hey, that has to be so hard at that age where special forces, like what's cooler than that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have integrity at that point, that's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had integrity at all the times in my life, but that was a moment where it was like, man, I can't do this, you know? And I just there was something, it was calling, you know what I mean? So I went to, the military, did the whole combat thing, went to Iraq, and really wanted to forget about being a military person, a veteran. Like, I never got to do what I wanted to do in the military. There were a lot of just horrific things that happened on my tour, and I just wanted to just go away. And I didn't tell people that I served. I didn't go to any Veterans Day stuff. Like, it was just out of my life. And I went to ministry school. I wanted to be a rock and roll evangelist, and that did not work out.
Dang
it. And then I was just like, I got out of college and I toured with this band for a summer, doing like worship camps and stuff. And then I couldn't find a job, and no one would hire me. People were like this was when worship was Chris Tomlin, and every worship leader sounded like Chris Tomlin, and I sounded like Metallica, Chris Tomlin. It didn't work. Not at like mega churches, right? And no one would hire me. And so I ended up like on my hands and knees refinishing hardwood floors. And it was the most like devastating time where I was like, I thought I was just this God's gift to the world, musician, evangelist person. And like, I was just so humbled. And then I remember I was driving in St. Louis Park, and I was like, I'm going to call Charlie Ide. Like, I have to do something different. And I called him and I was like, dude, do you need a salesperson? I can sell stuff, And he was like, yes, we're hiring. And they hired me, and we built the company.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is cool to see
That's
the
amazing.
parallels between what you have done with Engage Your Destiny and kind of being the chaplain's bodyguard, essentially, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
Just paving the way for the person who's bringing the word. Or, I mean, I've learned that chaplains aren't even necessarily Christians in the military. Is that true?
Yeah, we've got some Muslim and Jewish ones. It's pretty wild.
So I didn't know that, but the idea that, hey, you're protecting the presence, the physical presence of, I don't know, religion, I guess, if nothing else.
Well, yeah, and in the military, ministry, when you wear the uniform, you are protecting a soldier's right to worship his God, whoever he calls God, which is ministry. And then there's, the calling you have on your life, which is 99% are Christian chaplains.
Yeah.
They're there to do ministry. And so it's a both and, right? Like, I've seen chaplains protect the right for soldiers to have pagan services and pentagram and all those things, and then later lead some of those kids to Jesus. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
Every one of those soldiers has the right to worship their God, whoever they serve. That's their freedom of choice, and we support that, right? We're also, if you ask us our opinion, we're going to minister to you, and we're going to do what we do. But I think it's one of the beautiful things of how the military works. The military is a very godless and faithless organization. And yet it has so much faith and so much like structure that's built around faith.
Well, I want to talk more about the ministry and all the amazing things you're doing there. But first, there's a wild ride when it comes to how you got to the point of joining IDCOM, right? And doing sales for this, were they marketing, events, that kind of company. And then it wasn't what you'd always dreamed of, put it that way. You didn't always dream of doing sales for a media company, right?
Yeah. And I think, something that's going to be kind of fun to touch on is I believe that chasing your dreams is a lie, and it's going to leave you wildly unhappy and unsatisfied. Because most of the dreams that we have are not of the kingdom. They're not of God. They're not, they're not things that are going to last for eternity. It's stuff that we are glorified in here on earth.
Yeah.
So, I went through this journey of, I'm going to be this rock and roll evangelist. And I got really, really good at the guitar and singing, and got to the point where I was playing like Stevie Ray Vaughan type stuff, right? And I like conquered that hill. And then it was like, all right, I need to go conquer another hill. And so I went and I conquered, this media sales thing, and was working with the Vikings and Polaris and stuff that Dan and I worked on together, and like went and won every client that I wanted to set out to win. And then it was like, dude, God's calling me to ministry. And so I started Gauge Your Destiny and went on this journey of figuring out, okay, how do you minister to the military? And I remember I never even wanted to have a military ministry, but one night I had this incredibly vivid dream that my youth ministry, because I just wanted to lead kids to Jesus, was just a horrible failure. And like there were riots happening, and like there's just like I was showing up to speak and people were booing me off the stage. This was happening in my dream. And I remember thinking in the dream, this is really bad. I left a really good job for this, And then the dream shifted, and I was ministering to military people, and they were just getting set free and healed and delivered. And then I just woke up 3:00 in the morning, and that's just when I knew like God was calling me. And one of the mainstays like in my life has just been asking God, like, use me. I want to follow you. Here I am. Send me. I'll go. Lord, give me a mission. And it's just been that heart's cry like throughout my whole life. And then, there was this massive shift in my heart where I had been with this guy named Evan Owens. And Evan is an incredible visionary, incredible leader. And he runs a Christ-centered 12-week trauma discipleship program. And it's where all these vets kind of like take ownership over their trauma, and they get healed from it, and then they multiply, and then they become trainers, and then they go and do it again. And I was sitting with Evan Owens, and not in any prideful of a way, but he was just realizing something he had realized in the last few months. And he said, Ben, I could walk away from my ministry today and it would never stop. I could never take another dollar. I could shut down the website. I could just turn it off and it would never stop. And it was like the Holy Spirit just said to me, that's success.
Wow.
And that was the shift in my heart of how do I make this not about me? I had chased my dreams for the last, 15 years and hitting all these heights and writing a book, and Mark Batterson endorsed it, and, like going and doing this huge monster event, and, working with all these brands and hitting the point of playing the guitar at the level that I could. And like by the time I was 35, it was almost like I was having a crisis. Like I had achieved everything I'd ever wanted to achieve in my life. And I still wasn't satisfied. I still felt empty. And the problem with chasing your dreams is it's not building a life around people. It's based on you and what you're going to achieve. And the research is showing that America is the most socially isolated country in the world. We spend the most drive time. We spend the least amount of time with our families at dinner. We spend the most time on our phones. Like we are the most socially isolated. We have the highest rates of anxiety, depression, suicide, like everything, everything down the line. And that's because Americans have bought the lie of building your dream, living out, what you want to do. And very rarely do those dreams have to do with the people that you want to dwell with, that you want to be with. And Jesus said, you have to abide with me. And he was calling the disciples all at one time to abide with him together. And when you ask an American about abiding, they think one-on-one. But the context of that abiding moment in John 15, he's saying it to 12 people at the same time. You all have to abide in me. And I just found like, man, we're living in Tennessee in this beautiful place, in this great place that's conservative and, has family and everything. And I'm miserable and I'm lonely and I miss my friends. I've chased my dreams and I fulfilled them. And yet I'm still not happy. And that's where everything just began to shift for me in how do you build true relationships? How do you build something that can live beyond you? It's not about your personality. It's not about what you're going to do. And man, you've got a lot of young people today that are finding a lot of success really fast. And the Proverbs makes it abundantly clear that's not going to last.
Yeah.
And the world is telling young people, as hard as it ever has right now, all these things will satisfy you, and they don't. And you're just, at the end of the day, if your life is all about you, that's all you're going to have.
I feel like that's a step back that a lot of us need to take right now, including myself, right?
Well, it's amazing because I remember I always had a goal of like, I want to hit this financial marker by the time I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hit it and you're like, that's it.
That's it.
Right? It's like, it was about me. It's about what I could perform. It's just, that's it. So, but like the world would be like, you are so successful. And it's like, well, why? I don't feel like it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel terrible. So, I mean, you've had incredible success to what the world would say, right? And you've done amazing things through it, and God used all of it, which is so cool. But it's so interesting to hear that's like, and that wasn't what helped me overflow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's getting to that point of realizing, like, if you're going to dream big and dream like together.
Yeah.
Have a dream with a group of people. And I've witnessed people in my life who built a dream with a group of people, built a business with 5-6 partners, built things with a tribe. And their level of fulfillment is through the roof. You take vacations with these people. They do life. Their families grow up together. They have children, like they don't have children together, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have kids that are growing up together.
Yeah.
And dude,
right.
I mean, it's they've done it. They've built a dream. So it's like, okay, Father, here am I, send me. I want a mission, and I want to be used by you for your purposes. And then who am I going to do it with?
Yeah. Ben, can you tell us about one of the ways that you've done things differently because of that realization that, wait, if I am doing this just for me and my own goals, success, this is it's going to fall flat. I'm going to feel empty inside.
Yeah.
And so you did it a different way with community, and it hopefully was different.
Yeah, I think in building the team we're building right now, you know, I've never put more of an emphasis into these people like I have recently. And we have a former Navy SEAL who came to work for us, left his church, came to join our team. And, you know, we were on a call even this last Tuesday, and we were strategizing all the things that are going on in the ministry. And then at the end of it, I said, hey man, so how are you doing? How's your heart? And he said, wow. He said, Ben, I've been at this church for 3 years and no one's ever asked me that. And like, he's been with us for like a few weeks, you know?
Right.
And it was just, when it's about you, you're just going after people so you can get what you want. And you're just chasing, you know? It's all about getting to the thing, or getting to the yes, or getting to whatever. And, you know, the more that I've gotten into, you know, different realms of leadership and people, like the people that can do the most and have the most capacity, like they're the ones that have the most need. And sitting with this dude who's like, man, I'm actually struggling, you know?
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed. I have 6 kids and I feel like I don't have time for all of them, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where my heart is just really shifting, is how can I really show up for these people? And if I'm honest, you know, the majority of the ministry that's taking place is not happening by me anymore. It's happening by these people that my wife and I have poured into, that we've trained, that we've mobilized, that we've given ourselves to. And we're watching them just change life after life after life. And to me, that's like the most incredible experience I could have ever asked for. That's my buffalo. We call it.
Ben, is there any one moment that you can remember in your life where someone was that person for you that just saw through the exterior, the facade that you put up that, I'm tough, I've got it all together, life is great. But this person saw through it and they just shattered that and allowed you to be a real human.
I think my dad had that impact at times. He could see when I really needed help, when I needed to go get a cheeseburger and a milkshake and just talk about how hard things are.
Yeah.
And that's what just brought me back to like, I hunger for community and people to dwell with now more than I ever have. My last dream that I have is to see historic revival in the military. But that is never going to be achieved through me.
Right.
That's going to happen through a great group of people.
That's good.
That's a great shift, right? It's amazing to go from, which we all do. I know I for sure did at least. It's like, hey, what can I do to please me and take care of myself? And, what dreams can I find my identity in? To, hey, you know what? I know who God says I am.
Yeah.
I know who my God is. I understand the mission that he's given me.
Yeah.
And now I'm committing to obedience and pursuing community. I mean, that's what God showed us of how to live out your faith every day.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. As we wrap up part 1, is there something you want to leave people with? Chasing your dream is a lie. And so how do you want to finish that off?
Don't buy the lie, and seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. The kingdom is a group of people that are dwelling together in unity, and it's his kingdom. It's a whole bunch of people and all of his power. Seek first that and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto.
Come on.
Amen.
Well, thanks, Ben, again for joining.
For sure.
Thank you for listening to this conversation from the Everyday Faith Podcast. Our goal is to inspire everyday faith conversations. Please join us by rating and reviewing wherever you're listening, and most importantly, by sharing with a friend. For more resources like this, visit our website, askaboutmyfaith.com. God bless you as you live out your faith in your everyday rhythms of life.